Hey everybody, Tim Evanicki here with the College Audition, back again with another episode of the College Audition podcast, here today with my special guest, Rachel Swartz, Assistant Professor of Theater, Coordinator of Musical Theater, Coordinator of Recruitment at the University of Wisconsin, Parkside. Did I get all of those in correctly, Rachel?
I think you did, Tim.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I was so glad to be able to join you.
So one of the first things we do at every podcast recording is to get to know the person before the program. So if you could give us a little background on yourself, your history and career that led you to your time at the University of Wisconsin Parkside.
Absolutely. So I am a graduate from Baldwin-Wallace with my MFA in performance then from the University of Southern Mississippi. I started working in regional theater when I was a teenager. I was really lucky to grow up in Northeast Ohio, where we had such a rich theater community. So I was able to get rocking and rolling in that regard early on. And I had no idea how blessed and lucky I was to do so. I was able to earn my equity card through the EMC program very early, as well as get launched into working in television and film. So working across the industry as far as theater as well as on camera. And then I was fortunate enough, this is a bizarre and tough story, but my folks, to date myself, I graduated undergrad in 2008, and both of my folks lost their jobs in the recession that happened at that point in time. And I was so lucky to get picked up for a year-long teaching contract with Missoula Children's Theater. And I discovered in that moment in time that I am absolutely an actor, and I'm still absolutely a professional actor and director in the industry, but that being an educator was probably one of the most important things that I could possibly do with my life. So I spent a year touring Jack and the Beanstalk, the musical, in some of the toughest places that one can imagine. And it was brilliant and wonderful and beautiful. So I really started to gear my career towards being an education director in regional theater, building education programs at some theaters across this country, as well as still performing and directing. So both and then made the decision to go to grad school so I could take that transition into either higher education or running an education program at a large regional theater. And higher ed scooped me up, and here we are.
That's great. So for the record, when one says not to date myself, that was not that long ago. In fact, well after my undergrad years, you just mentioned that date. So thanks for that, for dating me. So tell us, other than being a coordinator of the program and coordinator of recruitment, which obviously comes with a laundry list of things that you have to, of responsibilities there, what are the classes that you teach at the university?
Sure. So I teach all of our acting for musical theater curriculum, as well as acting for the camera, all levels of voice and movement, text analysis, and our admittedly sneakily titled MT Appreciation class, which is really a musical theater history course. So that way we can open it up to our gen ed students as well as our majors.
So tell us, what are the degrees that we're talking about that are offered there?
Absolutely. So we offer an overall theater degree with concentrations. One selects in either musical theater, which is why we're chatting today, also acting, directing, design and technology, and stage management. Additionally, as part of our program, we offer possibilities for certification in digital media and production, as well as digital design and fabrication. So very focused on the doing of things.
When you say an overall theater degree, we're saying BFA, BA, what is the degree?
We are a BA program with concentrations.
Perfect. All right. So this is where I put my guests on the spot. I'm going to ask you for your elevator pitch on your program, 60 seconds or less. I don't time it, and no one ever does it in less than 60 seconds. So no pressure there. But tell us why University of Wisconsin Parkside.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, UW Parkside is located 30 minutes south of Milwaukee and an hour 15 north of Chicago. So those are two of the most fabulous markets for theater, film, and television in our country. Our students gain exclusive access to internship agreements as well as networking opportunities and job placement with some of the theaters in those markets, as well as some other affiliated companies nationwide. We have a 92% professional placement rate from our program, which I am super proud of.
Yeah.
We offer courses that teach our students beyond just the performance end. And of course, our musical theater students should be in an acting class every semester, and they should be in a voice lesson every semester, and they should be in dance every semester, and we'll ensure that they are. But additionally, we want to make sure that they know how to do their taxes and that they know how to build a website and that they are ready to build a comprehensive marketing plan for themselves. So that way they get out there and do the thing. We showcase our juniors and our seniors to professional companies and provide a day where we bring in theater professionals to give feedback to our first and second years. So that way they're ready to go out and conquer the world when it's their time to go. But that's a quick pitch
Perfect.
about our program.
Perfect. We're going to break that down. Obviously, everything that you said, break that down a little bit further. But before we dive into sort of what the program looks like on a day-to-day basis, could you explain to our listeners a BA in musical theater? Seems like it would be something that's sort of hard to do because there's three different disciplines that you're needing to cram in to BA, which means that there's also a certain level of gen eds that are required. So talk us through what a BA in musical theater looks like. There's not all that many of you out there.
We are kind of an odd duck in that realm, which I think is a feature rather than a bug.
I agree.
So what that means for us is, a lot of theater companies are asking for students to not just perform. A lot of theater companies, particularly as students are looking to enter the world of work, are thrilled that an MT is able to do basic level work in a costume shop, to understand what it is to sit behind the table as a director, so they can assist as a casting, somebody in the casting room, or other classes. So we do have some core curriculum that all of our students take. As I mentioned, costume craft is one of those. My text analysis class that I teach is one of those. Directing one course, as well as some history and literature courses, are across the board. But then we head into that actual concentration where, as I said, they're going to take applied voice lessons, as well as dance courses, and then head into voice and movement, advanced acting classes. We actually ensure that every student will be cast a minimum of 3 times during their time with us. We do give credit hours for that to make sure that we hold up our end of the bargain with that. So they get stage time. So that's part of their written into their core curriculum, acting for musical theater, music theory. And then they get to elect into some elective areas, whether that's piano or jazz studies, or we offer a lot of advanced stage combat classes. My incredible colleague, Brian Gill, is the Shakespeare stage combat guy. So whether those happen to be, we allow students at the end of their processes to kind of choose their own adventure a little bit more than what is traditional in a BFA program. So that way they can see to their strengths and to their weaknesses.
Yeah. So let's imagine that I'm a first year BA theater with a concentration in musical theater student coming to campus next fall. Tell me what that first year looks like, not just from the artistic side of things, but as far as academic requirements or gen ed requirements.
Absolutely. I can run you through, I have up through semester 6 actually open on my laptop right now. So first semester, those students are going to take Acting 1. They're going to every semester enroll in what we call Theater 50 or company participation. And that means that every semester we take our students to a professional show in Milwaukee and Chicago. So we just bussed to see Clyde's by Lynn Nottage at the Goodman just about 2 weeks ago, which was awesome. They'll additionally take Theater 100, which is our seminar course, where they learn to do all of the resume building, website building sort of things that they need to get foundationally underneath them. They'll take stagecraft, text analysis, a theater practicum credit, which they get for either performing in, and we hope they're performing in, or if they're not performing in, they're working on a crew for a piece, a voice lesson, a dance class, and then if they have space, a gen ed. So that's traditionally either English 100 or, the math basic level course. So
you listed off so many things. I couldn't believe you then said, and if they had space. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. So after that first year with only one gen ed requirement, I guess what I'm trying to get into is
semester one.
Oh, that's semester one.
Right. So semester two, they head into acting two, either makeup or multicultural theater in America, depending on the rotation. They take that company participation every semester to go to a show, principles of design, costume craft, and their theater practicum again, and one gen ed as well in that second semester. So
I think that the normal, what everyone has in their mind when they hear BA, they're assuming that means that about half or more of your classes are going to be gen ed. Is that not the case?
Oh, not at all. No. So we are pretty rigorous, particularly in theater history and literature. They do take 3 levels of that. I think that's fabulous to really understand what our art and our industry is. But they're going to be taking one or so of the theater gen eds per semester, i.e. Directing one or stagecraft. But every semester, those students should be in acting, they should be in dance, they should be in voice lessons, and ideally a voice and movement class as well, whether that's voice and movement 1 or stage combat 1 or whatever that happens to be.
So I guess a question from listeners, and I know I'm already thinking of some of my students that would be asking this question: why isn't this a BFA? It sounds like a BFA, and why do you think that students are more drawn to that BFA title than a BA title?
Sure. So why it's not a BFA, it goes back to our company model of our expectations of all students to be hands-on in all disciplines, which again really attends to that professional placement rate. But we want to ensure that our musical theater majors find those additional areas within the form that they succeed and thrive in and enjoy. Whether they end up being a lead electrician on the show that they're not in that semester, or if they run wardrobe crew, those things only help in the long run. So we talk about the company model and ensuring that there's no sense of hierarchy between students that are in design, technology, and management and students that are performance centric, that we are all equal creators in this business and we all should understand what one another do. And as far as to answer the question about BFA, there can be the assumption that a BA program isn't going to allow them the performance space to get what they need. And I am sure that there are BA programs out there where that is the case. But I do work with a couple of college audition groups that really encourage students to, instead of looking at the title, look at the semester to semester. What are you taking? What is the expectation of the spaces that you're in, and finding out, without names of programs removed and names of degrees removed, what's the best match for you and the way you see yourself spending 4 years in order to become the artist that you want to be. So I think that's,
No.
it's a tough label, right? So it is what it is.
But you're saying all the right things, and the things that I want you to say, because I think that so often these students are just married to the BFA or bust, and if it's a BA, I don't even want to look at it without actually taking the time to look at the curriculum and see what that means. So this is a perfect example of a fully immersive theater curriculum that's not, I mean, for lack of better terminology, watered down with math and science. I mean, that's kind of a terrible thing for me to say, but that's I guess that's what I mean. So I'm glad to hear you say that, and I'm digging into this a little bit more than I normally would when we're talking to a school, because I want students to understand that label. BFA, the terms BFA and BA are not cookie cutter, and it's really important to look beyond that and look into the curriculum to make sure that it's offering you everything you want.
Absolutely. 100%.
So let's talk about performance opportunities and how often students will have a chance to get on stage while they're there.
So it's my hope that students are cast every semester, and we do our best to ensure that every student each semester has a callback and goes through that process to take the full immersive audition journey. Because we have 2 main stage productions per semester, and what I mean when I say main stage is fully shop supported, meaning big costume design, big scenic design, all of that great stuff. We additionally have a minimum of 1 student directed piece, as we have that directing concentration per semester or faculty special project. So when we're producing 7-8 pieces a year, we can do our best to make sure that every student performs a minimum of once, if not twice per year. We want our students to do the thing with which they're studying. That's how we apply. That's how we get better. So it is certainly our goal to ensure that happens for them, so that way we're rigorously training in our work.
Great. So how many overall, how many main stage, how many student production?
Sure. A minimum of 4 main stage, and then a minimum of 2 student produced, though it tends to be closer to 3 to 4.
So it's not, you're saying a minimum of, so there may be more. It's
Correct.
Not like got it.
So this year there are 3 student produced. Next year there's likely to be 3 student produced, plus every other year I do a workshop of a new musical in one of those student produced kind of lab sensibilities. So next year is one of those years where I'll workshop a new show.
Is there a breakdown of what you try to do, plays versus musicals?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was brought to the University of Wisconsin Parkside. I interviewed and was hired in February of 2020.
Perfect.
So, I know, right? That's great. So I was brought to the program to launch their musical theater concentration. So that was why I joined. When I first began, the intention was to do a musical every other year, because there was no musical theater concentration as part of the university program. But now that we have that, we ensure that there's a musical opportunity annually. So traditionally, so for example, this season, we're opening with The Wolves that I'm directing. We open next week. Then we'll do As You Like It. So it tends to be a big classical piece every year as a tenant for our acting students. Then we'll do Annie Baker's The Aliens, and then I'll close the main stage this year with directing Spring Awakening, the musical. So that's the faculty layout. And then, as I mentioned, 3 student-directed pieces as well.
Great. So what is the opportunity there for students to study other things? That sounds like you have a very packed schedule of the classes that they take. What is the opportunity for students to minor in other things, or is it possible to double major since it's a BA?
Sure. So it is possible to double major or to minor, and when folks tell me they want a double major, I tell them that probably means that they're going to spend an additional year or 2 within the program in order to finish those secondary degrees. But where I think that becomes possible is we're the most affordable school in the state. So for Wisconsin residents, our tuition rate is $7,444 for the year. And for out of state, we're $15,714, and that sans any academic or artistic scholarships. So
very affordable.
Yes, absolutely. So if somebody wants to stay an extra year in order to pick up the political science major, or you know, I'm thinking of our current students where you have a first year acting student who's double majored in poli sci, and we just graduated an actor who had double majored in psychology. So for those folks that want to pick up that dual degree, it might mean an extra year or two, but balancing the affordability in order to open up those additional pathways, as well as pursue the studies that they want to experience in their 4 or more years of college. Our degree is completable in 4 years, no problem. But if you want to tag on, that might mean sticking around for an extra minute, and that's okay.
And so within the department, what are the minors that are available within the
Sure.
theater department?
Within our program, we do have a theater minor, which if somebody is majoring, obviously they're not going to minor. We currently offer certifications as well in digital media and production. So if someone wants to be on the back end of film or podcasting or any of those sort of things, we have a functional TV studio as part of our facilities here. And additionally, we offer a concentration in digital design and fabrication. So that one I am less familiar with, but for folks that are looking to work in scene shops and want to know how to utilize the big, whether it's laser cutters or CNC machining, any of those sort of, this is so reductive, but the fun toys, that is that concentration for those folks to be really thoroughly versed in those areas.
Beautiful. Tell us about, other than yourself, some notable faculty that the students will be encountering while they're there.
Absolutely. So one of the areas that really drew me to UW Parkside was our faculty, as well as our staff. Everybody is a working professional, which I think is wonderful. Our department chair is Misty Bradford. She is a costume designer and is working on an off-Broadway show right now. Fabrice is our head of directing and is a production translator and dramaturg and director by trade. Brian Gill, I mentioned earlier, is an incredible equity actor who specializes in classical theater as well as stage combat, and is an advanced actor combatant with SAFD, or the Society of American Fight Directors. We have Jody Sikas in scenic design, who is on sabbatical right now to go work in New York. Kevin Gray in sound design. Josh Christofferson is our technical director. Leslie Vaglica in the costume shop. Ryan Kappelman is our associate lecturer of musical theater, dance, and applied voice. Ryan is a unicorn and teaches both of those things, and I am so lucky to have him, as well as we have Angela Owens teaching private musical theater voice as well. So that's our team. And as I said, they're all actively in the industry, rather than folks that were in the industry 45 years ago. And I so admire my colleagues here. I think they're really marvelous.
Great. And you mentioned briefly the area that the school's in, with proximity to Chicago and Milwaukee. But tell us about the location a little bit more in depth. I always say students eventually will be leaving the campus to do something. So what is there to do in Parkside?
Sure. So where we're about 10 minutes off of Lake Michigan. So if folks are if they, in addition to being theater folks, are folks that enjoy being outside, on the lake or doing any sort of hiking, biking, we're called Parkside because we're in a park. I know that these folks can't see me right now, but Tim's looking out at my window of trees behind me in my office. But additionally, I live in Milwaukee and commute from Milwaukee every day, which enables me to be working in that market. So students have full access to that. And it means that, we're able to have professional affiliations with Milwaukee Chamber Theater and Renaissance Theater Works in Milwaukee and the Shakespeare Project of Chicago and other companies that are our neighbors. We have a train that goes from just off campus to Chicago or Milwaukee. So if students aren't going to have cars here, they are able to get to those places in order to see theater or to work or to audition in either of those markets, be it in theater or we have a couple of students involved with a SAG film in Chicago right now. So we know it's a horror movie, and I'm hoping that one of our gals is not the killer. But it's been a blast.
And what types of things do students do as far as, shops and restaurants in the area? What does student life look like?
Sure. So, Parkside is part of a small city in Milwaukee. There is, or small city, excuse me, in Wisconsin. So, as far as immediately off campus, they're about all of the box stores and standard restaurants that one would think of. They are putting in a Chipotle really close to campus right now, and I'm very pleased about that, but that's neither here nor there. But if folks are looking for those big kind of tenets of cultural, prominence, I'm like, hop in the car for 30 minutes. Let's go to Milwaukee, right? Let's hit up a really large Midwestern city. So there's all of the creature comforts immediately off campus that a student could need while having, a big city vibe close by. But with the proximity here, it means that I get to live in a major metropolitan area while also having a horse. So those are not things that, right? Yeah.
Of all the things that you could have just said, I didn't expect to hear that.
Being somebody who's been an equestrian all of their life, to have this sort of, that sort of setting where I can have both was really remarkable for me. So if folks want the nature along with the city, they can have both.
That's a great way to say it. So let's switch gears now and chat about the reason why most of the students listen to these podcasts. Let's talk about the audition process. The first question I always ask, do you pre-screen?
We do not pre-screen.
So you are a relatively new, you've been around for a couple of years, but pandemic years, do they count? Tell us about the audition process for you then.
Sure. And the theater program itself has been a long-standing program before I got to join. They were a number of years ago recognized by the Wisconsin Board of Regents for the award in teaching excellence for the full UW system. So not so bad. But as far as my process goes, I attend a number of the state audition festivals. So I go to Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Michigan and see students there. So I see a large number of students in those places. We additionally have on-campus audition dates. So we see a lot of folks and invite a lot of those folks back to audition and apply. So we had from those filtered in over 60 applications last year, and we took 25. So we do cap our program across all 4 years in order to ensure those opportunities for students. So we're intentionally small. And I do quite like that in order to best take care of those students and see them through with opportunities all 4 years. We hope our first years are cast.
So you're seeing students at the thespian festivals and you're making final offers at those, or you're inviting them from there to audition on campus?
A mix of both. So some students, if I'm able to see the full package in regards to transcripts, in regards to the greater picture of how one considers a student, I am able to make final offers at those events. Or if there's a little bit more to see, but we know that those students may be a great match, we're able to invite them at that point in time to join us on campus for a scholarship audition. Okay. So, yeah.
And you were one of the schools that was wonderful enough to join us at our summer conservatory as well. So that was wonderful. And you watched our students there. Are there other opportunities other than the on-campus Other and festivals, those couple festivals that students are seen at, you don't do unifieds or anything like that yet.
I will be at Chicago Unifieds actually. So if folks are at Chicago Unified, they'll see me there. Additionally, one thing that the pandemic enabled us to do was to begin accepting virtual submissions. And as travel reopened, we discussed as a faculty, is that something we want to keep? And we decided absolutely. So if students are looking to submit and are not in southeastern Wisconsin or northeastern Illinois, we do take those virtual submissions, and I'd be happy to walk those students through that process.
Beautiful. So when you're looking at students and seeing them at the different audition opportunities, what are the things that stands out to you?
Absolutely. So because our company model is so at the core of who we are as a program, I am looking for students who want to be multi-hyphenate artists, who are excited about that all hands on deck sensibility rather than adverse to it. As we all know, so many of our students are phenomenal singers and phenomenal actors and phenomenal dancers. That to me, the students that I'm looking for are the students that will be great collaborators for 4 years, and that we can see them through that growth and progress together.
Great. So the last question that I always ask our guests is to share something with us that you are looking forward to in the coming year.
Absolutely. So I'm really excited. I open a show next week, so that's very much on the forefront of as far as performance opportunities and things happening. Additionally, we just connected with the associate conductor of the Les Mis tour, and Tim is going to be joining us on campus to offer a masterclass, a Les Mister-class, as it were, which is terrible titling, but that's okay.
No, that's genius. That's the stuff I live for. That's so great. That's so great.
So that's open to our current students as well as prospective students if they want to come and learn music from the show, and Q&A about what it is to be on a national tour and the revamp process and all of that stuff. So those two things are coming up this semester. And then we open As You Like It, and we have a huge student matinee of like middle school and high school students coming to see their first Shakespeare. And I'm so thrilled to share that. So that is what I'm just vibing with for this semester so hard, of getting our students up and making art and then sharing that art with our community. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So if students or parents want to learn more about your program there, Rachel, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Absolutely. So they're welcome to email me directly. My email is Swartz, SWARTZR @uwp.edu. Or if they want to head straight to the audition page, they can head to, I want to make sure I get this URL correct. It's a bit of a long one. So uwp.edu/learn/department/theater arts/newstudents.cfm, which is terrible. But if they want to reach out to me directly, I will get that to them.
We will put that URL in the liner notes of the podcast, so that because I didn't follow
Fabulous.
that. So
that's, as soon as I started to read it, I was like, nope, that's not going to work. But
well, Rachel. Yeah, it was great getting to know your program a bit more, and hopefully this podcast will send some students your way. And we look forward to seeing you around here again real soon.
Absolutely. Great to
All right.
Him.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
For more information on the exciting training, workshops, and resources we have to offer at the College Audition, please visit us online at www.thecollegeaudition.com or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.